a table, TBL register. TBL register is a table. So show collections. Show collections. You see, register table is also there. Even it may have some records into it. So, but if I want to remove it, even if you have records inside it, no problem. Just we have to use DB. So TBL register dot drop. We have to use the drop method. Automatically here it is used to perform operation like removing the entire table. Actually, we have another option. So without removing the table, we can remove all the records in the table. For that, actually, we have to just use the option remove. Remove and empty. If you define this, it will remove all the records, all the documents. It will remove all the documents inside it. So you can remove any specific or you can remove all. So from that particular document, just you have to specify remove. I want to remove the table itself. If you want to remove the table, so then you have to use the option drop. So that means when you define drop, so it is going to remove that particular register table. True, it returns true. When it returns true, so show collections. So you see show collections and it is no longer available. So you can remove that, right? For example, you can remove the database also. And to remove the database, we have to use the method drop database. Drop database. db.drop database. So I will not remove this. Show DBS. These are the databases. Let's create another database. Use Amazon DB. That means it creates a database called Amazon DB. And you see DB, currently Amazon DB is there. Now db.create collection. We are creating a table, TBL products. And you can see it's created. Now show DBS. You have that Amazon DB. Now I want to remove this database from the list. Means I want to remove the database from the server. So we want to remove the database. And to remove the database, just we have to use db dot. First, which database you want to remove, you have to use the database. That means make sure that use Amazon DB. After that, check once DB, that is the database. Then DB dot, so drop database. So that is the database, that is the command. And it is going to remove the database. Along with all the tables, it is going to remove. And you see now, so it is going to show collections, show DBS databases. There is no database called Amazon. So this is delete operations. So you can delete the records. You can delete the records by using delete one, delete many. You can delete all records by using remove. And you can delete the table by using db.collection.drop method. And you can remove the database, so by using db.drop database. That's the command we need to configure. This is the basic thing we need to understand, how we can manage and work with the databases. So creating database, finding the records, creating tables, inserting records into the tables, searching for records in the tables, modifying the records in the table, changing the field name, removing the fields, adding the fields, and removing the records, deleting the tables, deleting the databases. These are all the important operations. So this is generally CRUD operations, how we can handle. Once you know this, how they work in database, we need to control them from the front end now. But from front end, you cannot directly control them. Any front end technologies cannot interact with databases in the back end. You need a middleware. You need a server-side technology. So those server-side technologies and middlewares are used to communicate with the database, interact with the data, and present that. As I told you that this is the database that we are going to learn in our full stack development. But in real time, so many projects, as per requirements, they use MongoDB. If they depend on a lot of analysis, business intelligence, reportings and all, then they go with more large databases like Oracle, MySQL. For that is generally Java full stack, .NET full stack. Such people can learn those kind of databases. I will show you one more small. I am not teaching you any SQL now again. So what you can do is, once you are aware of this, you can manage all this from the general graphical interface. That means you see in the graphical interface, that is MongoDB Compass. In the graphical interface, modifying the records, updating the records, everything simple, just only buttons are present. You don't need to use the commands. You can visually see the table, you can visually see the records and the data inside them. You can modify them directly from here. You can manage that. So let's check that. So here I'm connecting, and here we have the shopping DB, and here we have TBL users. And if you want to modify any specific record, actually the right side, you can see the buttons available. That means in the right corner, you can see for every record, you have the buttons available. So that means this is the record, and you will find this record, so related information here. That means you have an option edit document, copy document, and we have clone document and delete document. Clone means it will create a duplicate, right? So here when I click on edit, then it opens the edit mode. In the edit mode, you can edit the field name, you can edit the value. You can edit the field name, you can change the field name, you can change the value. Suppose password is David123. I made the changes. Then click on update button. Then it is finished. So you can make the changes directly here. You can delete the record directly here. This doesn't require any commands and any option. That's very simple. You can manage your database here. You can see collections. When I click on that in the left panel, drop collection. That means it is removing it. So we can drop the databases, the options, and configure them and use them. This is graphical interface. Now, similarly, you have an SQL-based graphical interface. What you can try is, you can download and install MySQL database. So for that MySQL, there is an option Workbench. You have to download and install MySQL Workbench. Remember, this is not our concept of learning. but still I am just giving an overview only to understand how SQL based options will be there. Generally SQL based means, so SQL based lot of commands you have to learn. You have to learn the SQL, PL/SQL language. So here we are just using the database and see how they will work, how it is going to handle. You can download this MySQL Workbench actually. This MySQL Workbench is same like Mongo Compass. So you download that MySQL Workbench and install in your computer. So let's check that. So Google, yeah. You can search for, so MySQL Workbench, SQL Workbench. This is MySQL Workbench. So this MySQL Workbench you can download. So this is the MySQL Workbench. You can download it free. You can download it free. So this Workbench and install in your computer. You can download it and install in your computer. So it provides all the options to work with SQL based databases. Yeah, it is available for all operating system services. You can download that. Right? So you can just download that Workbench. So it will take you to the downloads where you can choose your operating system and download. So some latest version of MySQL is there. You can download this. I will give you the link in the notes so that you can easily go to that and use it. So yeah, this is MySQL. Actually, it is graphical mode I am showing you, so no need of any notes. You can easily handle that. So MySQL, you have to download first. Download and install MySQL Workbench. And actually this is the URL. MySQL Workbench, that is the URL. From there you can download. And here important is, so while installing, it will prompt for two details actually: username and password. So username will be root, that is the username, and password. So any password you define, so that this you have to use to log in. Later, if you want to work with MySQL, you need to log in with this username and password. While installing, at one step, it will ask what should be the username and password. You give it and remember that. So this, once you done this, so Workbench provides a graphical interface, GUI, simply, right? A GUI to work with database. Provides a GUI to work with database. Actually, you can see in my computer already I installed that. So MySQL Workbench. This is MySQL Workbench. So you download this MySQL Workbench, and here actually everything SQL based commands, but it will generate those commands for you. Automatically it will generate the commands for you. So in the graphical interface, when you launch MySQL, this is the MySQL Workbench. So what you have to do is in this, let's close. Yeah. In this, you see by default, there is My Connections option is there. In the My Connections, already you have installed, you configured user. How many users are configured? Those users will be here. By default, we have a user called root. We have the user called root. And you need to click on that user root. Then it will prompt for password. So what is the password? And the password that you given while registering. So while installing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is my password here. You can give any. And it will connect to the workbench. So I will just give you a screenshot also. That means this is the initial screen that you will see for MySQL Workbench. I will just put this for your reference sake. That's the graphical interface. Just for your understanding sake, I copied that. Now in this, the password that you have given while installing, you can configure that. Now in this next step, what we have to do is once you logged in, so then you can go into, so it is logged in. So click OK. Now it is logged in. And once logged in, you see left side so many databases I am having here. You see the schemas category. In the schemas category, you will have all the databases. So in the schema category, you are having all the databases, right? So you need to create a new database and work with the database. So temporarily, I will drop the schema. Means just I am removing all these things I'm having so that it will be clear for you. Okay, so drop. So let some are there. Yeah, some are there, but I am removing all this. Okay. These are all own created. By default, you will have sys1. Right. So see, now suppose we have all these databases. Now I want one database to create. Yeah, all are gone. I want to create a new database here. To create a new database, so we have to use the commands actually. So here we need to define a command like create database and database name. So shopping DB. That's how we define. We write the commands. This is the query window. In the query window, we write the commands. Or you already have buttons like you see, click on create new schema. That means when I click that, it asks what should be the database name. You give the database name. Schema name means database name, and click on apply button. So then it will create the database for you. So you can graphically do that, or you can write that by using commands also. By using the command also, we can do that. So that means here I am defining create database and database name. So I will just give you this screenshot also. That means how we can create the database, how we can configure the database. This part I will give here. Yeah. So in this, after you log in, creating a new database. In that, first what you have to do is open a query window. So this is the query window. Actually, query window, you can see here, there will be a query, new SQL query tab. create a new SQL query tab. This plus mark is there. And you can use that new SQL query tab, that plus mark is there, you can click that. That means here you can use this one. This is the new query window. That is the new query. And this is the new database. This is the new database. New query means it will open this window. Database will create a new database for you. It will create a new database for you. So you can open those options and you can define them, right? So actually to create database, so you have to write the query window. So type the following command, And in the command, we need to define this. So this is the command we have to specify. Oh. So create database and database name. So some shopping DB, that is the name we have to do. This is the query command we need to configure. So this is the query command we need to configure. It looks like this. So that is the query command. So that is the query command we need to configure. Just diagram I am defining there. Yes. So this is the query command we need to define. The query window you need to specify and you need to manage that. That's the option. Now, after writing that, you see here, so I have to select this line and execute. To execute, so you need to execute. Actually, you need to click on this particular button. The thunder symbol is there. So you have to click the button that is for executing this command. To execute the command, you have to click on that symbol. That means after selecting the line. So after you selected the line, because sometimes you may write so many lines, in that you can select only which one to execute. So I can select this and click on that execute. And that is executed. Executed, that means at the bottom, you can see the status. So it says that create database shopping DB successful. The last one, it says successful. That means creating database is successful. It creates the database successfully. Now you see left side. So you can click on this refresh button. So left side, you can click on that refresh button. This refresh button, and you can see shopping DB is created. That is simple. Creating a database is very simple. And that is the database we have created. After creating database, then adding tables into database, that's also simple. Actually, adding tables into database, you have to right click. You see here, you have to expand that shopping DB. In the left side schemas, you have to expand that shopping DB. You will have tables. Right click on tables and select create table. You have to just create table. Actually, for that, we need to write commands, SQL commands again, but we are just using graphical mode of it, create table. Then it will ask you in this way. So that means first to add tables. So expand database, shopping DB in schemas. And you have to right click on tables and select. You have to select create new table. You have to select create new table. And when you select create new table, this window will open. In this window, it is asking the options simple. First, you have to just define table name. Table name is TBL category. Now I'm just defining TBL categories. Okay. Now, what fields you want in that table? After defining the table name TBL categories, right side, you see there is a tab here. So right side, you can see the tab here. In that tab, you can observe that in this window, you can see right side, there is a tab. So here you define the table name. You define the table name here. So that means you are configuring the table name here. We are defining the table name here. After mentioning the table name, so you click on that button, then what it will do is it will open. You can see when I click on that particular button, it will open the columns option. It will open the columns option. Here you have to type what should be the column name, what should be the data type, what columns you want, you need to mention that. That means here you double click and here what is the column name. We need to define the column name. So I will just scroll that below. Yeah. You can see it is asking the column name. Double click on that and put the column name category ID. That is the column name category ID. What is the data type? Data type is here we are having different data types. In SQL based data types, so many will be there. For numbers, int. For string, we have varchar. For Boolean, so we have the other option, that is here you will have an Boolean related options. Actually, Boolean related options, so we need to define by using this. Where is it? Yeah. So we have to define by using these blobs. You can configure lengthy values by using long, medium, and binary, and all these options you can define. Date time, we can use date time. So other options are available here. Now, in this, these are all different data types available. Just what you have to do, you need to configure this as integer type, and PK is primary key. So primary key, that means this is the unique identifier, and not null. So that means it cannot be empty. Primary key is mandatory. Similarly, you have unique options. You can configure unique. So here, these two are enough, primary key and not null. And similarly, another option we need category name. Category name. So it is string, means you can give varchar how many characters you want. You can define the number of characters. This is enough. This is not primary key and this is nullable. So that means it can be empty category name. So this is how generally we define. After that, when I click apply, after that, you have to click apply button. So define the field names and you need to click the apply button. So configure the field names and apply the button. So here I will take a new one. So, and this is the part. Yeah, this is the part. So let me copy that, and this is the option. In the new table, so we need to define these options. We need to define these options, the table names, so the data type and the fields that you want for the table, we need to configure that. So that means you have to specify the table name, specify the field name, and field name and the data type, and the data type. Then click apply button. Apply button. When I click apply button, actually it will create a query for you automatically. So you see when I click that apply button, it generates a query like this. Actually, people who learned SQL, they need to use this command. This is the query actually. This is the query. So that means the following query will be generated. The following query is generated. So that means this is the query used for creating. This is the query used for creating a table. Create table, table name, in which database table name, and the field name, its data type, its primary key or not. So these options we need to configure. So after that, after the query generated, now click apply button again. After the query generated, click one more time apply button. Now the table created. So this will create a table for you in the database. Now you click apply button and it is executing that query, and finish, the table is created. Once the table is created, you can see in the tables list, you have TBL categories. In the tables list, you will have TBL categories. Now, if you want to add records into the table, you can see here to add records into the table. So deleting table, everything present here. To add records into the table, generally you have columns, category ID, category name, everything will be here, structure. We can go to the query. Here we have to open select star from TBL categories. So that is the table, TBL categories, and select it and execute. It will return the result here, and you can see at the bottom the result comes here. That means we need to execute that command. So first you need to change into the database. That means we have to use shopping DB. First we need to use the shopping DB, and here we have to write, so select star from TBL categories and execute that. And you can see this result will come here. You have to run the command select star from TBL commands categories. It will show here. And currently the category ID, the category name, these fields are empty. Now here I need to put category ID 1. Category name is some electronics. It is 2. So footwear. It is 3. Some fashion. Like this we are adding the details. Now once you enter the details, after you enter the details, now you have to, So after you enter the details, you have to click apply button again. This is for creating the table. You have to click apply button again. So adding records into table. See, another step here, adding records into table. To add records into table, so go to query window. So type the following query. So first you have to change into database. So use shopping DB. So that means that will change into the database. After that, select star from TBL categories. Now here, so you can insert the records. That means insert new records and click apply button. That's what you have to do. Insert new records and click apply button. You can see here, so again I will take a new one, and this is inserting. We have the option for inserting. I will copy this also. So you have to write the command and add that. So that is inserting a new record and defining this. Okay. So we are inserting a new record. So we are inserting a new record here into the table. Once the record means when you click apply button, so what it will do is it will generate the following command. It will generate the following command. Actually, it will generate the command like this. You see, this is the command. This is for inserting records into table in SQL actually. These commands are generated for you. These commands are generated for you. So then you have to just click on apply button. You need to just click on apply button. So click apply button. Apply button. So that's how it is generating the options. Now you can see that when I click apply, so then this query executed and records are permanently stored. Otherwise, the records are not permanently stored. Whenever later you are trying to access, so it will show it is empty. There are no options. Now, generally for updating, for deleting, everything you can do from graphical mode and you can do from SQL queries. For that, you need some SQL queries. I will upload the list of some SQL queries for different types of operations. You can try them. So, but I am not teaching any SQL here. That's not our part. I will give you some list of SQL queries. You can try them. That's enough. You can easily understand. Because already you know the different filtering situations. You can understand that. You can use those queries for selecting only what you want. So for updating, for deleting, all such operations you can manage. So generally, that is how we can modify and handle. Here, actually in graphical mode, directly you have the options like you see, you have the options like edit row. So you have option like insert row. We have option like delete row. That means if I say edit row, then it opens the edit mode and you do some modifications. After doing the modifications, you click on apply, then it will generate the update query now. We haven't done any modification. So that means it will open the edit mode, delete every operation you can do here. But if you know SQL commands, that will be more easy for you. That will be more easy for you. So that is basically how we can handle. Now, generally, if you want to delete, if you want to change, you can do right click and you can do that. So you can right click and you say drop table. You can say drop database. So we can select rows. It will show how many, instead of writing the command, we can directly right click and say select rows. It will show that rows. So this is basic how you can work with the database. So these are general things, but our main concentration and working we will see on MongoDB. Just I given you this also so that we can try on two different databases and see. Because from server side, when you are making interaction with the databases, our queries should change accordingly. Our queries should change accordingly. For Mongo database, queries will be different. And for SQL based databases, queries will be like this. So those changes will be there in the server side technology. We need to handle that. This is basically working with the non-SQL database and the SQL database. A simple approach I have given here to handle them. So I will save this MySQL, MySQL, so that it will be just for your reference sake. I will save this. Now, how to interact with the database, how we can communicate with the database. So for that, you need to understand. That means you have done up to this backend part. If you remembered in the first session, we discussed, I will show you, means in the introduction actually, I showed you the web architecture. I given a basic web architecture in the introduction, I showed you the web architecture. So in the introduction, we discussed the web architecture actually. That's the web architecture. In the introduction part, we discussed about that in full stack development, what happens. Actually, now what we have done is, so we have handled these two things currently. That means in this now we have done two parts. One is, so this area, so we have done this part. Let me check, yeah. So now the client side technologies we know. I will show you React, Angular like technologies also, how they are used. So here, the client side, we have seen all this. How to present, how to give effectiveness, how to handle the client side script. We have done that. And now server side, so we have this database. These two things we have done. That means we created the database, configured the database and everything. So that means we defined, so we defined like this. Now this cannot directly, we cannot communicate directly here. It's not possible. It's not possible. We cannot directly communicate that. Then we need a very important, that is, this is server-side technology. So we need this server-side technology. So this server-side technology is responsible for server-side technology with middleware. So that is Express. These are responsible for communicating with the database, interacting with the database, handling communication with the client and interacting with the client. This is what we need to handle. That means now we need to understand this part. So we need to understand this part. That means the web application architecture, we need to understand the server side part now. We need to understand this server side part. This part we need to learn. So means how we can communicate with it, how we can handle it. Actually, so we call this, generally we call as a server side scripting actually. Actually, you already saw client side scripting. Server side scripting. So scripting. Server side scripting is a technique. It is a technique used in web applications, Server side scripting is a technique used in web applications. So what this technique can do? So it is a technique used in web applications that allows to create a response customized for every client request. So generally people call server side technologies. Actually, server side, not technologies, better you should say server side scripting. So server side scripting is nothing but it is a technique used in applications where scripts are employed on server to generate a response customized to every client request. This is the official definition for server side scripting. Server side scripting is a technique. Actually, what happens in this technique is actual scripts. Earlier, we need to write the scripts. We return the script client side. But now the script is written server side so that it will accept the request from the client. It will process that request and it will generate a response according to the request. It will generate a customized response to the client request. So this is the basic approach actually, how it is going to manage and how it is going to handle. So a customized response for every client request. There are so many server-side scripting technologies, server-side scripting technologies. So many are there. The first server-side scripting is CGI actually. CGI, it uses C language. So by using C language is also used in server side. The first server side scripting is actually CGI. So that is the server side scripting technology. After that, so many server side scripting technologies came. So JSP, PHP, ASP, all these are server side scripting technologies. Let me give you the presentation. Suppose I will just show you a small presentation here. Means what is the server side scripting technology here? So the server side scripting technologies, these are not, yeah. Some scripting, yeah, this is actually server side scripting related options, means how they are defined, how they are used. But you may not require an entire this actually. I mean, these are a little bit complex, not required for you. Let me see the simple one which I have. Somewhere that presentation is there. It's okay. So that server side here part is there. Means because these are related to some other server side technologies which will confuse you a little bit. So okay, somewhere it is there. I will later show you that. Yeah. Directives already. Okay, so here I think in another file it may be, right? I need to search. Later I will show you. All right, it's no worry. Later I will show you that. Actually, means different server side scripting technologies, architectures will be there. So that I will show you later. So not required, but if you have an idea, that is very good actually. So different server side scripting technologies. Here we don't have that architecture. Fine. I will show you in tomorrow's session. Huh? Actually, we have like CGI, we have like PHP, we have like JSP, we have like ASP, we have like .NET, ASP, and we have like Node.js. All this comes under this category. Generally, these are all server-side scripting technologies. Now, we are going to see in our full stack this Node.js as a server-side scripting technology. The main purpose, actually, Node.js allows you to configure the server, create the server, handle the request from the client. That's the reason many times people call Node.js as server. Node.js is not just server. It uses server-side scripting also. For that, it uses JavaScript. That means now you are going to use JavaScript as server-side script. Earlier, you have used JavaScript as client-side script. Now we are going to use JavaScript as server-side script. That means now how to create server, how to configure the server, how to manage the request from the client, how do we process the request and send the response, how communicate with database and get the data from database and send to client so that client can consume and present the data. This we have to understand. For that, we need to learn how server-side technologies work. What are the concepts in server-side technology and to deal with them. That we will see in our next session. Okay, tomorrow we will start Node.js working with the server-side technology. Once we are good with this server-side technology,